everyone. It's my pleasure to be in this virtual summit. So today we are going to talk about neuromarketing in practice. I'm Indra. I'm co-founder of Lighthouse Neuromarketing Lab. I'm in marketing for more than 10 years. And as already mentioned, today the major focus is on neuromarketing in practice and share some easy to implement tips. By the way, this is the heat map. We can see the major attention focus points created with predictive eye tracking tool, which is integrated together with artificial intelligence. And I'm happy that face is one of the elements that attracts attention. Of course, to be honest, people attract people, so it's nothing surprising. By the way, I'm not going to specify into details what do we see and how the attention is basically spread out. But if you're showing happy people, if you're showing smiles, they also usually attract more. And as an alternative, this is the visualization, which is called focus map. And it is essentially kind of the inverse of the heat map. Again, you can see the major focus attention on the specific areas. And it's just, out of curiosity, I tried as an experiment to see what would be the major elements, what potentially our customers can grasp. But first things first, I believe that you have heard about neuromarketing already. And to be honest, I love this quote. I think that sometimes common sense is not common sense. And of course, some of the information might be have heard, some of the information probably you read, I don't know, studied somewhere. And it's sometimes, when we are discussing with our colleagues that it's not a very new thing, but it's very inspirational. And it's also a good reminder. So this is my typical question at the conferences, at the beginning of the conferences. How many ads do we see a day? Back in the 70s, the average person saw between 500 to 1,600 ads per day. Of course, traditional marketing tools were used, mainly billboards, flyers, posters. And a few decades later, the number of advertising increased exponentially to go with new forms of marketing, such as product placement. So in 2007, we have the average person saw up to 5,000 ads per day. Now, what we see, the average person is exposed to 10,000 ads, marketing stimuli every single day. And in other words, consumers have an acquired commercial immune response. It's a phenomenon, like, in other words, called the advertising immune system. So just as our bodies develop resistance to diseases after repeated exposure, consumers are becoming increasingly immune to attention-grabbing tactics. And just to add on top of this, we have 2 free seconds to attract attention. If we're successful, 65% of people who watch the first 3 seconds of the video will watch it for at least another 10 seconds. So this is specifically for the videos, but make sure that this is kind of also a pattern which you need to take into consideration. I believe we all do. It's also possible to see how attention travels on your creatives or marketing material with start and end attention heat maps. This is the specific neurons tool, but in general, there are many predictive eye tracking tools integrated with artificial intelligence, which you can also use and which you can basically test. So probably we'll come back to this a bit later. Additionally, just because of logo placement, brand logos in the bottom right corner are only seen by 4% of all potential customers. And all of these ads are falling prey to what is referred to as the corner or depth. In this example, Spotify did a great job for brand recognition as they used an easy-to-read typeface and implemented vivid color contrasts. However, the billboard failed in building brand awareness since the brand name and logo have been exiled to the corner of death. So let's talk about very shortly about neuromarketing and the principles. Why do we need to discuss about neuromarketing? How you can use, the essence of neuromarketing, the core of neuromarketing. The evolution of humankind, according to the field of economics, begins with Homo economicus. And what does it mean? An all-rational, all-knowing, wise purchaser, basically, who only makes decisions that benefit themselves in the long run. However, neuroscience and then later on neuroscience together with marketing kind of promotes another idea, which is Homo economicus. So not rational, not knowing, and with little thought to the future, the Homer Simpson of economic choices. So this is perhaps a better reflection of who we are. And that's why neuromarketing is introduced. It's a field that combines neuroscience with marketing to understand how our brains respond to their stimuli, such as advertising, products, brand messaging, and many more. So neuromarketing reveals that many consumer decisions are shaped by subconscious processes and emotional responses. Or in other words, what you can see in the slide, neuromarketing is used to determine the effectiveness of advertising. Of course, when we talk about neuromarketing, I think that it's also essential to focus on pros and cons. Some of the aspects, what we can kind of, identify as benefits, granular insights. So neuromarketing provides a more granular look at human behavior than traditional marketing or market research, which evaluates consumer behavior at a higher level using techniques such as surveys and focus groups. So neuromarketing strategies take a precise look at consumer behavior, preferences, and tendencies. Honest feedback, because customers cannot lie in the neuromarketing context, These methods generate more reliable data. And just asking a person how they feel about something can change their feelings. So neuromarketing, to some extent, if I may say so, bypass this problem, generating objective results that a traditional customer satisfaction survey cannot provide. Subconscious revelations. So this approach can reveal insight into subconscious mind and short responses that people generally do not remember. Cost-effective, neuromarketing can lower the price and increase the value of marketing research. And finally, it's a holistic approach. So what I already mentioned, neuromarketing is paired with traditional methods for a more holistic approach and for more rich data. What about the cons? I think that, again, I'm saying that, I wear this thin glasses on, and I think that, to be honest, to all of the aspects what we see in the slide, we do have the justification, but in general, to some extent, we can see that anti-marketing activists warn that neuromarketing could play on consumer fears to manipulate them and encourage specific neural responses to stimuli. Pseudoscience, so neuromarketing is often conflated with pseudoscience and hype, and it's not kind of backed by credible neuroscientific claims. But again, I'm not going to justify. I think that there are a lot of different elements which can claim the opposite. And no new information. I believe that, it's just, again, to sometimes critics might charge that neuromarketing uses science to explain in a more complex way that could be kind of used by the intuition to some extent, and they also say that it simply validates things marketers already know. So eye tracking, one of the tools which are usually used for neuromarketing research. And if we can have a look at the video. So as I already mentioned, not only eye tracking, obviously eye tracking glasses in this specific example, but we can also use motion detection, which involves analyzing facial expressions. We can also have GCR, galvanic skin response, which to some extent measures the skin conductance, heart rate, and other psychological measures. Functional magnetic resonance, fMRI. This technology measures brain activity by detecting changes in blood flow. It can help identify the specific areas of the brain that are activated in response to a particular advertisement or product. And finally, we also have electroencephalography, EEG, which uses sensors placed on subject's scalp. So as I said, I want to move on, and I think that I'm not going to focus so much, but if you are interested, just find me on LinkedIn. I would be glad to share more. Extensive adaptability in general, that it's not only for neuromarketing perspective, but it's also other areas. If I'm being more specific, we see that it's neuroarchitecture, neurobranding, neuropricing, neuroaesthetics. One of the examples would be this one, where eye tracker was used to identify and kind of focus more on the attention when you are, let's say, in the, like when you have an exhibition in front of you, and where you are fixating, where your attention goes to. Okay, let's move on to neuromarketing hacks, which probably you are all waiting for. I would say that it's something like neuromarketing 101. But on the other hand, I think that it's what I already mentioned, more practical and inspirational too. So one of the first things what I want to stress out is eye movement. Users typically read web content in an F pattern. Probably this is what you might be familiar already. It's not a new thing. Starting with horizontal movement across the top, followed by vertical movement down to the left side. And we also tend to scan advertisements in triangle pattern, moving from the top left to the bottom right. But all in all, when we talk about eye movement, make sure that you also organize content, in a specific pattern, matching readers' attention, matching readers, ensure the key messages are seen. And this is what I want to show you, just kind of to add on. Our eyes naturally follow where people are looking at. Old school examples, but these Sunsilk ads show that just putting a pretty face isn't enough. It matters where the person is looking at, where she is looking at. And I tried, kind of did my experiment, and I used the predictive eye tracking here. But in general, you see that it's also where people are looking at and how you are flowing with this, like towards this direction. So in this case, I'm pretty happy about the result, because I see that one of the major focus points is also on my LinkedIn account profile or QR code. One more example. This was, long story short, like a challenge. Humana Medicare was concerned about its banner performance and tried to optimize it. So upon arrival on their landing page, one of the first things drawing eyeballs was their banner advertising and Medicare plans. And it meant that if the banner wasn't optimally presented, they were likely kind of going to lose customers. So what you see in the slide, that the predictive eye tracking heat map reveals that most of the attention, about 55%, what you see like areas of interest here, is spent on the not so compact heading. Some attention, 15% to 0.2, drift towards the smaller text, but it gets scattered since there is simply too much text to take in a few seconds. So in general, the banner was in a rotating carousel. So you had only 6 seconds to grasp the attention. And of course, in this case, you will see at the end also will show you how the design might changed completely, the attention focus. So the focus map also confirms that it's impossible to read that text block below the heading in those 6 seconds and the first insight. So it's basically that there's too much information, what we already discussed with you in the banner. The second insight, the call to action, CTA, is barely visible. So the first thing what was changed, so as you can see from the attention heat map, now the attention is less scattered. So there are only 2 remarkable, clear, and concentrated focal points, like this attention focus point. So the text on the left and faces on the right. So this is also indicates also indicated into the focus map. And the second insight, CTA, so link from the initial version is replaced with a clear CTA button that is colored and much bigger. So it's also placed much closer to the main focal point, the heading, and this strategic placement allows the viewers, users to notice the call to action button. So these changes led to 433% increase in click-through rate for this banner. And I know that it's not specific, with as a tip for coaches, for course providers, but in general, this is some of the most important patterns what you can also use, and what I already showed, that where you lead, where you lead the attention, the eye movement to some extent also is very important in the design. So I think that you can apply the same principles to your products, to your brands. And of course, make sure to test. Otherwise, you might fail. This was an example of a billboard ad. I don't know. I cannot judge, but I believe the company didn't want to attract so much attention to the celebrity. And in this case, I would advise to use predictive. If you don't have eye tracker tool, you can use predictive eye tracker tools integrated with artificial intelligence. There are plenty of them. And again, if you feel that to some extent it's not enough just to use, but also the importance is how you are interpreting this information and how you're using this information. So this is a bit different topic where at the end, I just want to keep your attention, because at the end I will show you some of the possibility to have consultation together with me about your specific brands. So let's move on. It's important to remember that the paradox of choice is not some vague and some unsubstantiated concept that digital marketers use to sound clever. Not necessarily digital, but I think in general, all of the marketers. So one of the first studies actually was with the jams. Researchers set up a booth in grocery store, offering customers a selection of 24 different flavor of jam. And on another day, they set up similar booth, but only 6 flavors available. what happened? Surprisingly, even though more people were attracted to the larger display, fewer people actually made a purchase. So just as to many jams, sorry, I don't know. I have fly, and it seems that it's, I don't know if you see that in camera, but it probably also wants some attention. So just as too many jam jars option can lead to lower purchases, too many products of your courses, or too many services as part of your your organization, your brand, your offering will ultimately lead to a lower conversion rate. So the exact same logic applies in both the digital and physical, kind of marketing, or I could probably say marketing worlds in general. So it to some extent resonates with the basic behavioral hypothesis that an organism will choose a course of action that appears to require the smallest amount of efforts or expenditure of energy, or also called as law of least action, law of least effort. This is the example of how many number of clicks you have to do to perform in order to create an account. And I think that the best and the easiest example is this one. Like we have this specific saying, like a feature creep. Sometimes we are so into text, and especially when we as coaches, we as lecturers, and events, conferences providers, we create, it seems that a lot of content, a lot of text, a lot of information, a lot of and too much information. So make sure that you are providing the most important kind of core elements. And of course, it's easy to say, probably more challenging to do, but again, you can test that. The easiest way, what I already mentioned, with predictive eye tracking. Storytelling impact. So, of course, storytelling activates multiple areas of the brain, particularly the prefrontal cortex, temporal cortex, limbic system. So, making it an effective tool to create emotional connections and engage on a deeper level. I understand that, it's easy to say again, but I think, and I personally use a lot of storytelling if it's possible for me, just, to build up the heritage, to build up the credibility. And I think that this is one of the greatest marketers' tool. This is not specifically an example, but I want to stress out that your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. So make sure that you also keep in mind this information. And I really love Oatly example, which is a bit off topic, but I think that they are a genius in this case, because what they're doing is basically, if you hate this brand, they empower you of kind of hating this brand and asking you to come to their website and actually give the feedback. And if you are playing this card, and if you are hating it so much, so basically that you can go a lot of times to their website, and I'm not going to curse, but you see what is the idea behind. One of the elements, what I need to mention, is mirror neurons. So you can show what coaching looks like with you. You can show how a person, press a button, press on a button, purchase, buy now, because we tend to kind of mimic the behavior, what we see, what others are doing. If you remember at the beginning, I said that, use happy faces, show happy people. This is something what we want to be like, and the happiness is the basic need. So selfish filters this is something what we have. So put your customer into your shoes, and they can empathize with you and show somehow, like lead them to it's very easy, but it's, as I said, sometimes it might be more challenging to do that in practice. Leverage all the different senses, so sound, smell, visuals, taste, and it's important what kind of typography, image style, colors you are using for your brand. What about the sounds you are using, sounds before your YouTube videos? And what about the smells, if you have any physical premises, and can you infuse the premises with a unique smell that customers are going to remember? Or if not, as I already mentioned, the color of psychology, or psychology of the color. I mean, this is very important. Think about the brands you love and their logos. Likely you are drawn to the color first, and why? Because color is an emotional cue. I personally use yellow and purple a lot, and this is not by accident. I'm also wearing yellow, and it's to some extent my identity. I want you to associate me with these specific colors. Offer the micro commitments. In other words, it's like lead magnets. We need from 7 to 8 touch points, possibly more, to kind of really register to the event, really register to the seminar, coaching consultation. So this micro commitment gives an opportunity for you and for customers to build up relationships. And as I already mentioned, it's kind of very basic neuromarketing 101 from a neuroscience perspective, but at least like give them to sign up for a newsletter, follow you, to write a review if it's possible, to motivate them to engage more in the whole process. That would lead to a better relationship development. So thank you so much for your attention. I think that you got some good reminder what you need to do. Of course, there are plenty of tips. So I think that this is something what we can also discuss with you individually. And this is what I already mentioned. Please register if you are interested in neuromarketing. And I offer you visual content study with predictive eye tracker and artificial intelligence, plus 30 minutes consultation. The price is, by the way, it's also specific anchoring method, 39-38 euro cents. But if you are doing this right now at this specific moment, or while we have the whole summit, it's free of charge. And for the end, I also did some test about the eye tracking. So this is something what you can see where your focus should be concentrated on. Thank you so much, and I hope see you soon.